Welcome to this explainer. Look, if you're a parent or a caregiver, you already know that managing a family's schedule can honestly feel like you're running a small, highly chaotic logistics company, right? Between childcare, transportation, sports, and your own actual work schedule, finding a rhythm is really tough. Well, as of right now, June 2026, a lot of Washington districts are either wrapping up the 2025 to 2026 school year, or they're already gearing up for summer programs and that next 2026 to 2027 calendar cycle. And for families here in Washington, a school calendar is just so much more than a list of holidays you stick in the fridge. It's the master blueprint. It literally shapes the daily rhythm of your entire year. So today, we're going to use this explainer as your ultimate planning tool. We'll unpack the framework behind these schedules so you can navigate the upcoming school year with absolute confidence.
Have you ever looked at your family calendar, then looked at a friend's calendar who lives literally just one town over, and thought, wait, why did their kids go back to school a full week before mine? It can be incredibly confusing to see completely mismatched start and end dates just a few miles apart. Okay, let's dive into this and look at exactly why this happens. Because I promise you, it's not a mistake. It is actually by design.
The answer starts right here with this single number, 180. In Washington, a traditional public school year lasts 180 days. That is the single foundational truth of the entire system, and it's the key baseline every family should keep in mind. Basically, the state hands every district 180 days, kind of like a box of 180 individual puzzle pieces. But how they actually arrange those pieces, well, that is entirely up to them.
Section 1. Myth versus reality. And this brilliantly illustrates how that rigid state framework actually interacts with our diverse local communities. Because there's this common myth of a giant, uniform, lockstep statewide schedule. But the reality is a system of hyperlocal district flexibility. On one side, sure, we have the state rules, that mandatory 180 days, and the statewide testing windows set by the Office of Superintendent of Public Instruction, or OSPI. But on the flip side, we have local choices. Neighboring districts can choose completely different start dates, holiday placements, and weather makeup strategies, even though they're following the exact same statewide baseline.
So why do districts organize their 180 puzzle pieces so differently? Well, Washington is a massive state. We're talking urban, suburban, rural, and tribal communities. A district's calendar has to reflect its local reality. Planners might need to account for heavy mountain weather patterns or tricky transportation limits. In some communities, calendars are deeply shaped by agricultural harvesting seasons or essential tribal observances. Plus, local bargaining agreements with staff, major community events, or even regional athletics play a huge role. This flexibility is a real game changer for local needs, but it definitely means you can never rely on a generic statewide schedule.
Section 2. The breakdown. So, looking back at the 2025 to 2026 school year, OSPI's data showed a massive variation in start and end dates, which, as we now know, is completely normal. But there are for sure some common structural patterns you can anticipate. Winter break almost always hits in late December and stretches into early January. A midwinter break in February is pretty common, but keep in mind that's only offered by some districts. Finally, spring break usually lands in early or mid-April. Now, while these patterns are helpful, the absolute biggest takeaway here is that you should never make statewide assumptions. Always check your own district's officially published calendar.
Section 3. The Testing Window Disruptor.
Now, what's really interesting about this part is that calendars aren't just about vacations and holidays. We need to talk about the hidden disruptors. For a lot of families, state assessment windows are the real invisible schedule shapers. Looking at the spring testing breakdown, the Smarter Balanced English Language Arts and Math assessments target grades 3 through 8 and grade 10. Meanwhile, the Washington Comprehensive Assessment of Science hits grades 5, 8, and 11, with alternate assessments available for students with significant cognitive disabilities. If you have kids in these specific grades, you need to be highly aware of this spring season.
Why is this absolutely crucial? Because these state testing windows heavily influence classroom routines. Even if your local district doesn't list every single testing day in giant, bold font on its public calendar, these assessments totally dictate daily scheduling and attendance requirements. You absolutely must consider them before finalizing any family travel plans. Trust me, you do not want to accidentally pull your child out for a fun family trip right in the middle of their Smarter Balanced Math assessment.
Section 4. Mastering the fine print.
Okay, insider tip time. When reviewing a school calendar, spotting the bolded major holidays is the easy part. The dates that truly impact your daily life, they're hiding in the fine print. I mean, we've all had that horrible moment of panic realizing it's a surprise half-day while we're already at work, right? You have to actively hunt for these hidden disruptors, the half-days, early releases, late starts, and parent-teacher conference days. Note the staff development days. That means no school for the kids. Also, be incredibly careful if you have kids in different programs. Don't assume every grade level follows the same dates. Preschools, special programs, and alternative schools very often have their own separate calendars. And finally, always verify you're looking at the correct calendar year and keep a really close eye out for emergency closure and weather makeup day language.
Section 5, Exploring Balanced Calendars. Let's move forward and see how this builds into an exciting new trend in scheduling. While 180 days is the standard, Washington has actually been exploring alternative models through state grants and local planning. The traditional model concentrates all its off time into one long summer break. But the balanced or modified model, it completely redistributes that instructional time across the entire year. The 180 days remain exactly the same, but the school year includes much more frequent breaks and a significantly altered, shorter summer. While balanced calendars aren't the norm statewide just yet, they are a growing trend totally worth watching. Shifting to this model fundamentally changes how a family must plan childcare, tutoring, and vacations.
Section 6, What Families Should Do Now.
Since we're already looking ahead to the 2026 to 2027 cycle, it's time to turn all this information into a solid game plan. Here is your actionable survival guide checklist. Step 1. Always treat your local district's official website as the ultimate source of truth for daily planning. Step 2. Dig deeper for program-specific dates, like those early release days or separate schedules for alternative programs. And hey, if you have children in more than one district, compare those calendars immediately because break dates might not match up at all. Step 3. Save the calendar everywhere. Put it on your phone, stick a physical copy on the fridge, and sync it to your shared family planner. Board-approved revisions or weather closures absolutely do happen, so stay alert.
So we've seen today that a Washington school calendar is far more than just a schedule. It's a complex, hyper-local planning tool built on that classic 180-day framework. But I'm going to leave you with this final provocative thought to consider. As districts continue to explore new ways to support students, if your local district shifted to a year-round balanced calendar next year, redistributing your summer into smaller breaks throughout the entire year, would your family be ready? Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer, and happy planning.